Meanwhile, the Itsekiri community in some states in the South have once again cried out, seeking government intervention over their plight. According to them, they are being deprived of their rights and benefits as oil-producing community by successive governments. Joining us in the studio to speak more on this is Collins Edema, an environmentalist and a key stakeholder in the community. Good to have you join us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, first, let's talk about oil exploration. What is the situation now, and is the effects only on the Itsekiri people?
Well, like you know, oil exploration started in the Niger Delta around 1956, but in Itsekiri homeland, it started in 1963. And so far is everywhere. We know our environment is heavily polluted, environmental degradation due to oil exploration and gas flare. The Itsekiri nation is heavily hit, reason being that though we are the highest oil producing tribe in Nigeria with about 33% of the oil production quantum, but we have the least population. So when attention is being given, the Itsekiri nation is basically ignored, especially since the return of democracy, because I think successive government feels they should concentrate where they can get more votes instead of where they get more wealth and resources to fund the vote they are looking for. So we are the worst hit, actually. If you go to Borodo, otherwise known as Escravos, that hosts the Chevron tank farm, NNPC tank farm, and EGTL gas plant, you will see that 90% of the land is gone into the ocean. The same thing with Orere, Ogeye, Ekekboro. Those are villages that have offshore facilities, the Okan, Meji, Meta, and all those fields. With our production of almost 500,000 barrels a day, the Itsekiri nation is suffering. Our lands are being washed into the ocean. The government and NNPC and their subsidiaries and JV partners does not care. Most probably because also we are very peace-loving. The Itsekiri nation has not taken arms against the federal government since Nigeria became a nation. We have never been involved in militancy, and of course it looks like the Niger Delta is actually a jungle where the most cruel animal get the fattest meat to eat.
But I'm sure that you also had the I think it was a military recently who said, look, anybody that takes arms against the state, which is Nigeria, will be decisively dealt with. So that is not even encouraged. But let me also ask you, because another contentious issue is that of employment of locals. This has been a regular complaint in the Niger Delta region. But do your people have the required skills to be employed by these oil companies?
Sure, and I would like to remind you that we actually boast of the first female professor in Nigeria, Professor Mrs. Alele Williams. And the seventh Olu of Warri was the first black man from sub-Saharan Africa that attended university in Europe in 1600 to 1611. So we are well educated, and this can be seen when Chevron recruited in 2008 for their graduate training program. Over 120 Itsekiris were left out of the recruitment, or will I say, were not called up for medicals. Chevron boasts, then they used to say they are an equal opportunity company, they don't give special consideration to catchment areas. But when the aptitude test and recruitment process was done, over 75% of those that passed were Itsekiris. And then they came that they cannot take 75% of who they want to employ as Itsekiris. This is despite saying initially that they are an equal opportunity company, and the recruitment was basically based on merit. Is the way you passed.
But wouldn't equal opportunity also be that you also ensure that other tribes in the country are represented? And as you take that, I also wanted to take this along, because one of the reports we also get is that there is a demand to be given contract that works for fixed projects. Shouldn't that also be based on merit, at least for sustainability of those projects?
What you are saying now is in the Nigerian Oil and Gas Content Development Act of 2010. It is clearly spelled out. First, Nigerians will be given right of first refusal in terms of employment. But then, those from area of operations should be given consideration in terms of employment. So while doing your merit and all that, we should be giving consideration as catchment areas, just like they do for admission in university. But now I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking of the fact that despite the fact that the Itsekiri graduates have always performed well, they have deliberately refused to give us employment opportunities. In 2008 that I'm mentioning, they told us that they will take the people batch by batch.
And that has not been done.
It has not been done.
Okay, are there ways you are engaging these oil companies, and then do you also enjoy any form of CSR from them at all?
There have been letters, there have been protests, like the issue I'm talking about. There was a time, 2018, we wrote a letter to the House of Reps through the National Association of Itsekiri Graduates about what Chevron is doing, casualization of our graduates and all that, but nothing has come up. CSR, zero, like I was complaining earlier that our place is being washed into the ocean. I'm not just talking about Chevron, but of course, 80%, 70 to 80% of Chevron operation in Nigeria is in Itsekiri homeland. And Chevron is the third largest oil company in Nigeria. So that's why it looks like we are picking on them. But I'm talking of NNPC generally, their SBUs, all other JV partners operating in Itsekiri land like SPDC, Seplat, Corn Oil, ND Western, Heritage Oil. It's the same thing. We don't have healthcare center in any of these oil producing communities. We don't have borehole. We don't have access road from Warri to those areas. And it's really bad. Whereas, you know, the federal government came up with a tax credit scheme, Executive Order 007 in 2019 for roads, and they have not used that tax credit scheme to construct road in our area.
Right, so because we usually do not do one side, we usually don't take one side of the conversation. We do our best to reach out to Chevron to also get their side of this particular story. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Collins Edema, an environmentalist and a key stakeholder in Itsekiri community. Thank you
very much.